Hey guys, it's me, Fire Alarm 19122, and today I'm coming back with another video. This video is a bit different. I'm actually going to be showing you how to wire up a conventional fire alarm panel. The panel today that I will be using is this Fireshield 2-NAC 3-zone control panel. I got this for a pretty good price on eBay, but that's beside the point. This is a panel that puts out FWR. So I would highly recommend not putting like mechanical horns on this panel or anything that, like any older fire alarms that can't really handle FWR. Basically, you'll need a panel, a power cord, if I can find the key for the panel. This is the replacement lock. That's how I got it. There you go. So you'll need the panel itself. I got the power cord in here. Preferably one with a hot, neutral, and ground. You'll need that. You'll need a notification appliance circuit device. So I've selected this Wheelock CH90 mainly because it's 4-wire, which means I can put power to both the strobe and the chime separately. And it's pretty late right now, so I wanted a quieter device. A pull station or a smoke detector. And then you'll need some cable. I'm just going to be using this Ethernet cable. I wouldn't recommend using this. I would probably use a thicker gauge of wire. Thermostat cable works pretty well with fire alarm stuff. Obviously, it's recommended that you use FPLR or Genesis or any of that fire alarm cable because it's more UL listed for something like this. If you're a professional installer watching this, I would not recommend following my advice. This is more for hobby and collector reference. So it's always important to refer to the manual so that you don't destroy your fire alarm systems because these systems are very fragile at the end of the day. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and start by wiring up the power source for our fire alarm panel. And for this particular panel, it's going to be located at the top left corner up here. If you have like a panel like a Firelight MS2 or MS4, or some basic panel like that, your power source will most likely be down here somewhere. Most panels have a hot, neutral, and ground, and most panels' input power is 120 volts AC. As you can see, this transformer right here, the input voltage is 115 AC, and its output is 24 volts AC, which, you know, gets converted into DC with this board and everything. So, yeah. Something else that's worth mentioning is that these outputs, the resistors type is typically going to be 4.7K ohm resistors for a specific panel like this one. Enough yapping. Let's go ahead and start wiring this up. Up here, it'll tell you have your neutral, and then this is going to be a ground symbol, and then this is a live symbol, which is going to be your hot. So in this instance, you would put white here where this neutral is. This symbol right here, this ground symbol, is going to be green wire, and this L is going to be where your black wire goes. And then this is the fuse for the panel. If you're dealing with a cord like this, smooth side's always going to be hot, and the bumpy side is going to be neutral, which is going to be your white wire. Well, if you had colored wires. I don't know if you You can kind of see it. It's how it's grooved and everything. That's going to be your neutral wire. This is going to be your hot wire right here, because it's smooth. And then this is going to be your ground. So all three of these wires will go into the terminals. It's always important to, if you've cut your wires or if this is a used cord, it's important to strip your wires the right length, just so you don't cause any shorting or any sparking or arcing. So I'm going to feed the wires through the top here. All right, and once you've gotten your proper size screwdriver, you're going to go ahead and start loosening these screws up. It's going to be a little hard for you guys to see this. You're going to have your green wire go into the area with the symbol, like I said. So you're going to tighten that down. Okay. And make sure none of the copper is exposed from the wire, and it won't short on anything. Which, I mean, if it were to short to any wire, the ground wire would be ideal. I'm not really a big fan of these terminals that Edwards puts on their Fireshield panels. My other Fireshield, as you guys know, the one that controls the upstairs portion of my bedroom and hallway and attic, that has the same terminal block up here as this Fireshield does. If you have a licensed electrician to do this, that would be highly advised. Never play with electricity. It is dangerous. It can kill you. But yeah, make sure you have a nice tight connection up there. No copper showing, which I might need to adjust that live wire a bit. Alright, and once you have a nice tight connection, just tug on everything to make sure everything's nice and snug. Nothing's going to come loose. Start any sparking or arcing, go ahead and close that. And then, just for verification, we'll go ahead and plug the panel in and see if it works. We'll go ahead and plug it in to make sure it plugs in properly. There you go. Our panel is working. Our live wire connection is fine. We can go ahead and hit panel silence. We're going to have a battery trouble because we are not putting in batteries today. But yeah, we can go ahead and unplug this because you never really want to work on fire alarm systems or any type of electronics live, just for your safety and the electronic safety. So now here comes the fun part. Now that we've got our power going in to our panel, we are going to wire up the neck circuit first. So we're going to take our fire alarm device. When using Ethernet cable for fire alarm, I typically use the solid color wire for the positive and the stripy white for the negative. So this will be our strobe positive, strobe negative here. And we'll go ahead and wire that down. Get a nice firm connection on that. I completely forgot. We need to take our resistors off. So NAC 1 is going to be our bell circuit. So we'll take one of these resistors here and put this in the chime circuit. And then, since I forgot to put the resistor in this alarm, we'll go ahead and put the resistor in here too. Okay, now that's wired up to the strobe portion. we'll go ahead and strip this side and then run it to NAC 2, which I have pre-labeled as the strobe circuit. All right, nice firm connection. And then we'll go ahead and do the bell side, which will be chime positive. All right, and then chime negative. All right, we have a nice firm connection on both the wire and the resistor. All right, we'll go ahead and move this resistor over so that these two don't short. Okay, and then we'll take the output side and we'll go ahead and strip this wire. Or did I say output? I meant input. And then we'll go ahead and put positive and negative in there. Okay, perfect. All right. And now that we have the notification appliance circuit wired up, we can go ahead and put that aside. We are done with this. We'll go ahead and focus on the pull station next, which is basically a fancy toggle switch. We'll go ahead and take the resistor out. All right, and we'll go ahead and put the resistor. By the way, the devices I'm using for the indicating circuit is a Notifier BG12 with the lock. This was addressable. I converted it to conventional. And then this is a system sensor 2424. So, yeah. So we'll go ahead and put the resistor in here. I think these screws were loosened. So we'll go ahead and take our wire and strip it. So with the pull station, it doesn't matter the polarity unless it's addressable. So we'll just pick one. I'll just put this with the positive one right here, since this is gonna also be my positive. But you know, you'll just wire that up there, and hopefully that stays, because I know these BG12 terminals are pretty wide, and I know Ethernet cable's pretty short or thin, but we'll just wing it. All right, your wires are all nice and snug, your resistor snug, and that's what it should look like on the back there if your BG12 is addressable like mine. And then we'll go ahead and feed the wires into the panel, get into the IDC1 input, or I'm sorry, output, whatever you want to say. So our pull station is hooked up, and yeah, so now that we've wired up our pull station, we can set that aside here, and then we've got our smoke detector. This is a bit tricky with this model because there's all these terminals on the back for like remote indicators and stuff like that, relays, whatever. But with this device, you actually do have to worry about polarity. I'll show you where to wire this up here in a second. We're going to take our device, feed the wires through the base, because, I mean, technically I don't have to because I'm not mounting it, but it just is a pet peeve of mine. So we'll just, this is going to be our power. So you got positive and negative. This is what most of these 24 models, these 2400 models, the back of them look like, unless it's base wired, which is pretty rare to find, and they're typically addressable, I feel like. I mean, I've seen conventional versions, but most of the 2400s I've seen are head based or head wired. I'm sorry, not head base, head wired, and the base is just a mounting bracket basically. All right, and then we'll wire up our negative side. And like I said, the polarity matters on this because, you know, it's a smoke detector. Feed that through the terminal. Okay, nice and tight. All right, perfect. And now we have our fire alarm panel all wired up and ready to go. The only thing to do now is to plug it in and program it, which I will be right back. Okay, and now that we've got everything wired up, ready to go, there's only one thing really left to do. After you're done wiring the system, you'll go ahead and take your jumper and put it in here, which is very tiny, but you can't really see it. This is going to be your programming mode here. I've stolen one of my jumpers from my Integrity because this didn't come with the jumper, so. Now you're in programming mode, and this is basically the button you'll use to scroll. I'm actually going to reset this to factory settings. So we've got all of this set to factory. So strobes, all these buttons will be what you use to program each device. So bells, I'm going to go ahead and set to I'm going to go ahead and set those to temporal. You'll switch that to temporal, and then you'll hit panel silence to confirm, and you'll hear a long beep, and then we'll switch the strobes to continuous, which you'll hit signal silence, continuous. All right, and then we'll hit the next silenceable. We're going to switch this to no, and we'll hit panel silence to confirm, and then this will be silenceable, confirm. All right, and then we'll go ahead and go to IDC. This is unverified, we want that. This one's also unverified, we want that as well. And this one is also unverified, which that. All right, and then now that we've finished programming this, we can go ahead and pull this pin back out, and that'll save our progress. All right, we'll go ahead and test our work and see if everything's working properly. All right, looks like our horn output is doing, we'll go ahead and shut that up. Our horn is doing code 3, and our strobe is flashing. Let's see if we get audible silence when we signal silence it. So our strobe continues to flash, which is what we wanted. And we'll go ahead and test the smoke detector too. All right, looks like we got the same result. And then signal silence, we have audible silence. All right, and we can go ahead and reset the pull stations so that we don't reactivate the alarm. All right, and then we can go ahead and hit reset. There you go. If you wanted to do, let's wait for this to reset, but if you wanted to do a test where only the strobes go off, you could disable the bells circuit. So bells are disabled, and then of course the panel's gonna scream at you for it. And now we can pull the fire alarm, and it only sets off the strobe. So we can silence that. And signal silence, even though there's nothing to silence. Reset the pull station here. And then we can hit reset. If we wanted to just set off the chimes only, we could literally just disable NAC 2 once the panel resets fully, initiates and stuff. We'll actually hit disable button again to undisable or re-enable the NAC 1. We'll go ahead and hit disable 2 and disable the strobes, shut the panel up, and we can just, actually we'll just hit the drill button. So there you go. Only the chimes going off. And that's the beauty of doing this with, I don't think you can acknowledge it, but that's the beauty of doing this with a 4-wire device. And then, you know, but yeah. So yeah, that's how you wire a fire alarm panel, a normal conventional fire alarm panel, a Fireshield specifically. Very common panels and very easy to wire up. You know, these panels are pretty nice, especially if you're just getting into the hobby. I highly recommend the Fireshield panels or the Firelight MS2/MS4s. Very versatile. You basically can do the same thing that I did in this video with the MS4. Maybe not so much in MS2 as far as audible silence, but I know with particular devices on the MS2, the MS2 has the capability to do 2-wire audible silence, which I'm pretty sure if like you hook up a Spectral or Advance, you could do a 2-wire audible silence. The MS2 is capable of doing that, and I even think the ESD Genesis can do 2-wire audible silence on an MS2. But honestly, it's just nice to have 2 NACs. That way you can separate the bell circuit and the strobe circuit like I did with this. But yeah, I got this panel. I didn't know if it was going to work or not. I was kind of winging it, but it ended up being completely functional. So, but I've went ahead and taken everything out, all the stickers that were in here before, and put my own stickers in here. So, but yeah, this is a very nice panel. This has been how to wire a conventional fire alarm panel up. If you guys have any questions in the comments, please feel free to ask them, and I'll make sure to get to those comments and provide the best answer I can give. Something to note though, a slight disclaimer, do not wire fire alarm systems if you don't know what you're doing professionally. Like I said, this is only for hobby and collector reference. If you have a Fireshield of your own and you're stuck on how to at least wire it or program it, I hope this kind of helps you figure out how to take care of a panel like this. But it's always important to have someone do this professionally and someone that knows what they're doing. That way, you know, your fire alarm system doesn't get fried or you do something wrong with it. But yeah, other than that though, this has been Fire Alarm 19122. If you'd like to see any other videos like this or any other helpful videos of this nature, please let me know in the comments below. And make sure to subscribe and leave a like on this video. Yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.